open your eyes.
It's hard for me to commit with myself and the outside. I would like to know if you can talk about the commitment with self.
These facets and consciousness will give you a commitment with yourself. Why? Because you will start to love yourself. And because you love yourself, you start nurturing yourself. You start choosing things in your life that enhance your growth, that enhance your heart. You start to focus on that, on love, instead of in your head, in addictions, in things that take you into suffering. You'll start to choose something different. And it's part of the process. You know, when I say to people, you don't love yourself, they don't understand what that means. Because until you experience consciousness, the experience of consciousness, because it's a beingness, it's not a doing. Loving yourself is a beingness. And then you start to select things in your life that enhance that experience. So once I commit with myself, that's all that matters. Everything else is a consequence, because I become the actions of love. When you're the actions of fear and lack, you can't commit to anything. All you can commit to is your addictions, your image, your suffering. But when you love yourself, you start to commit to love. And, you know, you say, oh, I can't commit. You're here doing something extraordinary. And you're a child. Like, look at you. And that's the beginning part. Start appreciating yourself. I can't commit. You're doing a 6-month program committed to healing yourself, to finding consciousness, to being free. Sounds pretty committed to me. Or no? So start to see that.
I'm going very deep in the unification, and I'm seeing very strong programs that suddenly come very, very clear. And I would like for you to talk about how to break or how to change these programs.
You know, the thing
using
is,
this
you
process.
see your programs, but it's your ego. And you can see what serve and doesn't serve. And it's not about breaking them. It's about seeing through them. You know, if you give a violence towards them, you give them power. And they're just illusions. And they're illusions that make you suffer. And you have to be clear about that. You know, I see it. It doesn't serve anymore. I've evolved beyond that. You know, we are asleep. And then we start to wake up. And we start to experience reality. And we start to see our illusion, our belief systems, our sufferings. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that you've matured beyond it. You know, it's like children. You give them toys, and they don't keep playing with the toys. They get bigger toys, and bigger toys, and bigger toys. And they evolve and they change. And you have to look at it like that. Don't look at your evolution like, oh, I should have seen that before. It should be different. Why did I do that? I did it because I did it. Because I was like that. And now I'm like this. And I am dissolving. I am dissolving. So when I talk about I am dissolving, what am I talking about? I'm talking about your image, that which holds you in separation. It is dissolving into unity. And it's not important. It's just an evolution. So just see it and change. You know, the minute you're here, the minute you're conscious, everything starts to change. Everything starts to change. And it's not something to be like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I have that program. Oh, I'm not good enough. Just laugh at it. Because it's just a toy now that's broken. I don't need that toy anymore. I've gone beyond that. I'm too big for that. I'm too mature for that. And always be choosing the highest point. Always decide to be the best of you. But from your heart. Don't fall into the old patterns. Open to something new. And you all know how you wish to be. You all have that vision. That's why you're here. So be that. Choose that. Yes? Good.
My question is about maternity. And I know you say that happiness is not in a future moment but the present. Can I postpone or repress that call but continues being strong? And I feel sad and pain to think in the possibility of not being able to do it. Can you talk about that, please?
You know, the thing is for you, is it's a big drama. Because you don't have your period, you're convinced it's almost impossible. So you focus on that. Instead of enjoying each moment, you're worrying about not having a baby. And you have to focus on being in joy. You have to focus on the expansion of consciousness. Why do you want a child? Because you want to give love. So give love. There's a million ways to have a child. But you've got a fixed idea. But you want to give love. There's 100 children in the world that need love. Thousands of children in the world that need love. So it's not that you so much want a child. You want to suffer. Because you've picked, it's like if I say to you, I want to be blonde. And I suffer and suffer and suffer because I can't be blonde. You know, and it's not that you can't have a child, but you're making it into something that you're yearning for. I cannot be happy without that. And that's a complete illusion. You don't need a child to be happy. You want what you can't have in this moment because you want to suffer. It's an addiction. And you have to see this because you're healing, your life's changing, everything's going well, and that's where your attention is. Maybe if you let go, everything will change. There's no physical reason you can't have one. So let go. Just let go. Don't focus on what you don't have. Stop focusing on that. Focus on the love in the moment. And the universe brings the answers. And you're so fixed in an idea. And you have to let the idea go. The universe knows what you want.
El universo ya sabe lo que
Maybe it's not what you need.
tal vez no es lo que necesites.
And it will come.
Y va a venir.
It will come.
Va a venir.
Because when you let go,
Porque cuando tú sueltas,
the magic
la
starts.
magia comienza.
Because really,
Porque de verdad,
all a human
todo
wants
lo que un ser humano quiere
is love.
es amor.
All a human wants
Todo lo que un ser humano
is to experience its
es
divinity,
experimentar su divinidad,
to experience that freedom.
experimentar esa
Everything else is a creation within the
Todo
illusion.
lo demás es una creación dentro de la ilusión.
And we're always suffering that.
Estamos siempre sufriendo eso.
It's what I was talking about yesterday.
De lo que les estaba hablando ayer.
My happiness is in a future moment,
Felicidad es en el momento futuro,
when I attain what I
cuando
want.
logre aquello que quiero.
Is it true?
¿Es verdad eso?
No.
No.
No. No. People attain incredible things.
Personas logran cosas increíbles.
And then they need something else.
Van a necesitar algo más.
And then they need something else.
Necesitan algo más.
If you're not completely happy within
Si no
yourself,
estás completamente feliz dentro de ti,
that yearning is eternal.
ese anhelo va a estar por siempre.
And if you're not happy within yourself,
Si no estás feliz dentro de ti,
you can't see what you
no
have.
vas a poder ver lo que tienes.
You can't see it
No vas a poder ver.
because you're focused on what's missing
Estás enfocando en lo que te falta
instead of on the
en
abundance.
vez de en la abundancia.
So it's a change of
Así
focus.
que es un cambio de foco.
You know, I can't be happy unless I have a baby.
Feliz a menos que tenga un bebé.
Well, go and get one.
Anda y consíguete uno.
I'm sure there's plenty you can adopt.
Seguro que hay un montón que puedes
I'm adopted. I didn't turn out too bad.
adoptar. Y no salí tan mal.
Hi, Isha. Hi, Annie.
Hi.
I can see in my process that I like to give more and more,
Eso que quiero dar más y más.
but I have a really hard time receiving and an even harder time asking. Can you talk about that?
De pedir tengo más dificultad.
Well, it's just a habit.
Es un hábito.
It's a fear.
Es el miedo.
It's a need to
La
control,
necesidad de control.
to feel powerful.
Sentirte poderoso.
I give,
Yo doy,
therefore I am powerful.
entonces soy poderoso.
I have control.
Tengo yo control.
So you have to open to receive.
Que abrirte a recibir.
It's easy.
Es fácil.
It's a muscle.
Es fácil. Es como un músculo.
You have to exercise
Tienes
it.
que ejercitarlo.
Yeah? It's just a matter of doing
Es
it.
solo una cuestión de hacer.
Even if it's uncomfortable,
Aunque sea incómodo.
just do it
Solo hazlo.
with grace.
Con gracia.
Yeah? And let go of the
Y
control.
soltar control.
I remember when we first got given this center,
Me acuerdo cuando recién nos dieron este centro.
no one ever gave me anything.
Nadie jamás me había dado nada.
I created everything
Yo creaba todo.
with hard work.
Con un trabajo muy duro.
And for me,
Y para mí
it was like
fue como...
it couldn't be happening.
No podía estar sucediendo.
I remember when he first offered it to
Yo
me,
me acuerdo cuando él recién me lo ofreció.
I said, no, I don't need a center.
No necesito.
I have one.
Tengo uno ya.
And I remember
Y me acuerdo.
the process I went
El
through
proceso por el que yo misma atravesé.
to say yes.
Para poder
And it
decir
was the
sí.
greatest gift for me
Fue el regalo mayor para mí.
because I really opened to
Porque de
receive.
verdad me abrí a
And I think it was the first time in my life
Creo que fue la primera vez en mi vida
I opened to receive
que abrí a
something.
recibir algo.
I was always creating it,
Estaba siempre creando,
doing all the hard work,
haciendo todo,
paying for everything myself.
todo lo que yo
And
necesitaba.
boom,
Y boom,
and it came from nowhere.
no de la nada, sorpresa,
Nowhere.
de la nada.
And I said yes.
Y dije que sí.
And look what
Y eso
happens.
es lo que sucedió.
Look what we create here.
Miren lo que creamos acá.
What a beautiful gift.
Qué regalo tan hermoso.
And it gives to
Y
everyone.
le da a todo el mundo.
So you have to learn to say
Así
yes.
que tiene que aprender a decir
You have to learn to
tiene
open.
que aprender a abrir.
And yes, it's wonderful to
Sí,
give.
claro que es hermoso.
We all love to give.
Nos encanta dar.
But you also have to open to receive.
También tiene que abrirse a recibir.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Because it gives everyone the possibility
Le da a todos la posibilidad
of giving.
de dar.
If you don't let people
Si
give,
ustedes no dejan que la gente dé,
you're stealing from them.
como que les está robando a ellos.
You know how you feel when you give something?
¿Vieron cómo se sienten cuando dan algo?
How good you feel?
Lo bien que uno se siente.
Yeah, well, give that opportunity to other
Dale esa
people.
misma oportunidad a otras personas.
Don't steal that from them.
No les robes esa oportunidad.
And if you have problem
Y
giving,
si tienes problemas dando,
practice.
practícalo.
Practice giving.
Practica el dar.
When your heart gives,
Cuando tu corazón da,
it's the most extraordinary thing.
es la cosa más extraordinaria.
Yeah, that feeling. Not for recognition. Just it comes from abundance. It comes from abundance.
I want to know how the system can help me to avoid the panic attacks.
You know, panic attacks are a consequence of fear and extreme stress. Okay, because you go like this and you're frozen and you can't move. And you have to start thinking the facets and connecting. And you're going to find that a lot of emotion and energy starts to come up. And there might be an episode that happened that created that, where you were in shock as a child and there was a base and then you built on top of that. But it's an illusion and it will fall down. This is sure. This is sure. So just use the facets and disarm it. Just love it. Just put love there. And it will start to dilute. It will start to be replaced with the energy of love. Because that's all fear is. Fear is just this low vibration of love. It will start to evolve.
Being anchored in the love consciousness, independently of my own life experience, I will always to be
You know, you're going to let
joy.
your life story go. It doesn't matter what happened. Because it wasn't real. It's a story. And this is the thing you need to see. As it loses its control over you, it will become like a story. Something you're reading. Something that happened to someone else. You know, when I read my life story, it didn't even happen to me. You know, I feel appreciation for the courage of that woman, but the emotion, I don't feel anything. Why? Because all the charge is gone. All the suffering's gone. And that story was what created this story. And this story is eternal because this is a true story. My consciousness is real. The story is illusionary. It brought me to this point. It's interesting. It's dramatic. It's traumatic. It's hysterical. It incorporates everything. But it wasn't real. This is real. This moment, this love, this unity, this is what's real. And yes, once you have this, once you're anchored in consciousness, you'll be experiencing joy.
I want to ask you, how can I transform the envy in love?
You know, when you're jealous, what are you saying? I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. Someone's better than I am. And you have to see it. It's a place where you're not loving you. And you're comparing. But how can you compare to someone else? Because you can only be you. And you have to love that. And when you really love yourself, you won't want to be like anyone. You won't want to change anything. You want to just be the best version of you. And you'll be so happy with that. So happy to be you. And that's the greatest thing. Because then you enjoy everything. And you live in gratitude for how lucky you are. When you're jealous and envious, you're always looking outside, always comparing, always competing. And there's no chance that you're being the best of you, because that's not love. And the best of you is always focused on love and giving. So when you see this, find this. Go in and love yourself.
I want to ask you, how can I trust more in myself? And to listen what I'm feeling and be able of doing that in a flowing, lovely way, kind. How can I trust more in people? Because there is a little protected part there sometimes. And just trust more in life.
Well, your T-shirt has the answer. It says, just do it. So you just do it. You know, it's a muscle. You go into action. But the first thing you have to remember is you can never make a mistake. If you're always worried about making a mistake, you're not open to grow. If you're afraid of making a mistake, you're always at the same point. You have to challenge yourself. You have to move. You have to put it into action. And when you start trusting in yourself and you will feel empowered, you'll start trusting in other people more. But trust in you first. It's like anything. I love myself first, then I can love. I trust in myself first, then I can trust. It's all a consequence. It's all a consequence of the mirror. You'll start to see it. You know, I can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and apparently I can do it a lot, no? In 2 languages at the same time. It's great, you know, talk and talk and talk and talk. But all of this will come from within you. All of it. You're the house of omniscience. You're the house of love. This is your experience. You know, I'm just knocking on the door. I can't give you anything. I can just remind you. I can't teach you anything because there's nothing to be taught. Because all of it's within you. I'm not teaching you. I'm showing you how to discover the truth. And you have to keep going in. And you have to keep taking risks. And you have to keep pushing the boundaries and saying yes. Even when you're terrified, you just close your eyes and jump. And this is when you start to live. You have to challenge and move, but here, and go deeper with more questions inside. I gave you the best tools in the world. The best tools. I gave you the tools for enlightenment. I gave you the tools for freedom. But you have to do them. You have to use them. You have to go in. You have to open the door. And look at the opportunity you have here. To move all the rubbish, to project onto each other, to grow. Use it. 1,000%. There's nowhere else in the world people are doing this. This is a very intense process. The energy here is like... I don't know if you've noticed. It's like a... It's a Buddha field. It's incredible what's here. It's the home of enlightenment. It's use it. Evolve. Use it. And go in.
Isha, my question is about the separation. Few darshans ago, you were talking about this separation, and suddenly I remember of an experience I had when I was a child. I was 4 years old, and I had a magical world. I believed in Santa, in Papa Noel, and in God. She was 4 years old. And then I knew they didn't exist, Santa didn't exist, and my magical world fell down. And I couldn't believe in God either after that. And I thought it was incredible when I was seeing other people believing in God. And yesterday I listened to you saying that we were here to heal the separation of ourselves, because after that experience I could see also during my life I was creating people to get disappointed also, as if it didn't end at 4, continue. And I could like if you can talk a little bit more about the separation from self.
You know, we create this fear to play the human experience. Thank love for my human experience in its perfection. It's an experience of duality. Good, bad, right, wrong, suffering, joy, love, fear, blah, 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 blah. But in order to do that, we have to look outside. And because the outside is based in duality, we have to abandon our divinity, our internal security, our internal innocence, our internal love, and we have to look for approval externally. Because the approval is always based in duality, we are often disillusioned. Because we have all these rules. But because these rules aren't natural, people are always breaking them. Because these rules aren't natural, people are always lying and putting on masks because they're pretending. In order to be the actions of love, 100%, you have to be the love. And the only way to be the love is from the inside out, not the outside in. And you know, most people, the middle section of people, have an idea of what it is to be good, to be giving, to be humanitarians, to be nice, etc., etc., etc. And then there's the other extremes. There's extreme love and extreme violence. And the majority of people live somewhere in the middle, with the capacity to go to the left and the capacity to go the right. Be very conscious of that. There's not anything you're not capable of under certain circumstances. You can swear it's not like that. But when you're not complete within yourself, you are capable of anything. So if you can't trust yourself, how can you trust the outside? If you're not integral, if you're not the actions of love, you're going to perceive that in the mirror. But when you become that, It doesn't matter what the outside does. It's not that it'll all change. It's not all going to become Disneyland. But you will be defining you. And that's what you'll be trusting in.
I want to ask if you can talk about anxiety and how do we use the food to cover that?
Well, I think it's pretty basic, no? It's like any addiction. You know, when we're children, we cry, our mothers feed us. We have a temper tantrum, they feed us. They're always feeding us. It's so natural that whenever any anxiety comes, we want to stick something in our mouths. It's just natural. And if we stop, because we have this outward movement, that's why smoking was so successful. Everyone loved to smoke. Oh, relief. Then we found out it gave you cancer. So then we started, whatever. We're always sticking something in our mouths. We're always looking externally. And you just have to catch that. And go in and stop looking for relief externally. Go in and connect with what's happening. And liberate that energy.
Hi, can you talk about service? And how is that such a simple activity of things I did before becomes so magical? How we can see ourselves in each moment there in service.
You know, it's a beautiful thing to give. And when you start to feel abundant, and you can be doing something so mundane, so normal, but when you're doing it from your heart, it's received with so much joy. And this is the nature of love. It's a beautiful thing to give service. When you're giving it from your heart, it's a really lovely thing. And we have to see that. As you expand consciousness, just the joy in giving, the joy in opening a door, the joy in giving appreciation or a compliment or seeing something beautiful. All of this is an action of the heart. If you're doing it from a place of innocence, if you're doing it from a place of love, if you're not expecting something in return, it's just a beautiful thing. And it's good you're enjoying that. Yeah, it's good you're enjoying that. Very nice.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.